Wow. Okay, nice. Can everybody hear me?
All right, everybody. Oh,
Do I? Yeah, let's make sure a second.
hey, everyone. We're having, oh, nope. Why don't you just go?
Let's go. Okay. Okay. Hello, everyone. I don't, and where is the camera for the online? Hello, online people. And then hello, my people. Welcome to ADHD KC and Horizon Academy. I'm Tiffany Arrington, and I'm very excited to talk about checklists. I know it's a riveting topic, but I think it's going to be amazing. So one of the first things, and I've got my little clicker. Let's see if is it working? It's not. Oh, no, darn it. It was working.
Oh.
Maybe, can you make it work?
No. I can't make anything work tonight, please.
Okay, so this sort of changes up things because now I gotta, hold on. Now I can't make my slides advance.
Uh-oh, okay. I can come over there and hit the button.
Wow, suddenly I became super high maintenance. Not sure how to. I don't think I can make my slides.
Maybe escape out of.
That's okay.
There you go.
Oh,
Oh,
now it's
there we go.
back. We're back.
Yeah.
Okay, so first I'm gonna talk about tonight's target audience, just to make sure you're in the right spot. So I wanted to give this talk for adults who want to bring more structure into the lives of their ADHD children, and adults who want better relationships with their ADHD children, and adults who want to dial down the power struggle with their ADHD children. Anybody? Yeah? Yeah? Okay. All right. So this topic is close to my heart because it is something that my family absolutely went through and still going through. And so there are things that I learned about the process that I wanted to pass on. I like to say a special thank you to Kate Miles. I actually invited her to come talk with me, but it was her son's birthday, and I suppose that's more important. But she is a social worker that I've known for a long time and worked with personally and professionally, and we were having struggles with our ADHD son at the time, and she was just like, let me tell you about the checklist. What? Anyway, so that's where it started, and it's kind of grown since then. Special thanks to her. But I want to say, I was telling somebody earlier that when I sign up for like the Attitude Mag webinars, you know, it asks me, you know, why do you want to do this? And I, you know, like, I am an adult with ADHD. I am a practitioner. I teach students. I have a son. I have a spouse. All of them. So I say that I guess as a way to try and say that I come from a non-judgmental place. I feel like people do the best that they can do, and I want to help them if they want to do something different or better. I want to do that. I don't want to ever say like, oh my gosh, you don't have a bedtime? No, I'm not. That's not my gig. I want to help wherever I can be of help. So, oh, that's fancy. All right. So, okay. Oh, talk to people. All right. So, if we can, maybe just no, not okay. Let's do this. right here down the line. You people turn and look at each other. You people turn and look at each other just quickly. And actually, if you want to just pair up with somebody around you, that's fine too. But I want us to bring to mind the impact that ADHD has on parenting. Like, can we bring that, talk amongst yourself? I'm gonna come around. Impact. Like, what does it mean? You wanna pull your hair out?
Yeah.
You know?
Jamie. They'll see. My name is Free. So I'm in the. I think. So, and my. Yeah. Jump on the fingers. My daughter. Which
It's very long. It's very long. Yeah.
Kind of.
Absolutely. Does that work?
Everywhere.
Okay. As long as I sort of stay right. Come on in. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Doggy, come on in. Come on in. Joey, we're just talking about the impact of ADHD on parenting. Now that you would have any experience about that.
That was much what you talked about. Oh, yeah. Things that people can navigate on that. I also have ADHD.
Okay, can I ask, I know I'm not giving you very long to talk, but can I ask this group back here? Can you shout out for me, what are some things that, how would you describe the impact of ADHD on parenting?
Yeah.
But, okay, not you yet, but. I'm teasing. I'm gonna be, yeah. Sorry. Chaos, okay, what else? How would you describe ADHD, the impact of ADHD on parenting? I like to think of like plan Z, you know, it's not like plan A, plan B, plan C.
We have exhausting.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's like, go through all the plans and it's
Yeah.
circle back, okay? Anything else?
Being judged,
By whom?
family and other parents.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
Can I have a shout out for the grandparents who
Oh,
think it's
yeah.
just a discipline problem?
Yeah.
Yes.
My brother said, and I quote, that little girl just needs a spanking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like more.
Yeah, okay, so, and I think it took me a long time to come to the point that I really had to internalize, the 4 agreements, that people say that because they are afraid of what is happening. And they don't know what else to do other than pass on what they learned. And so somewhere underneath the judgment is they mean well. I just kind of go with that. Anyway, so I wanted you to think just a little bit about why it's such a struggle. And I heard executive functioning skills. And did anybody talk about working memory, like in one ear, out the other kind of thing? And not even kind of knowing where to start, because it's kind of like herding cats sometimes, just to get kids to do things that many of us think, well, they should just know. And I don't know that there's anything wrong with thinking, well, they should just know. I think where we get into trouble is sort of like the judgment. Well, so what happens if they don't know? And then we need to go back to teaching.
I have a big one that I just thought of.
Yes.
I always worry about enabling
Uh-huh.
and accommodating.
Mhm.
Like, where do those things meet? And where am I?
You just killed. I think that is amazing. That is like, seriously, that's a whole book right there. Yes, yes. Let me ponder that. What I want to start off with, is to say that the kind of checklists I'm talking about are like one part chore chart, one part to-do list, one part a teaching cue, and one part a reward cue. Now, of those 4 things, how are they for the child or the adult? Yes. Yes, yes, particularly chore chart, yes, it could be both. To-do list, yes, could be both. The teaching cue and the reward cue are absolutely in the parent camp. So what I mean by that is, as we are going to go through this, a checklist of things that I have to do either in the morning or in the afternoon or before bed or whatever. And they are going to come to you with the list.
Yeah.
And it's a teaching cue for you. Let's remind ourselves how we do that. And then they are going to come to you with I finished. It's a reward cue. And as a parent, I like cues because I can't remember everything. Right? I can't remember everything. So, I'm thinking about other things until, my child puts the thing, oh, yeah. Let's talk about that. So checklist settings, you can have, afternoons, evenings, mornings. A lot of people start with mornings. You can have them on the weekends. You can have them for holidays, unstructured time. Unstructured time is really hard. So, as an adult, my weekends are really, come on in, please sit wherever. So just think about that. You can use these in any settings. And I've got my little box here, but I've got this little arrow that says, I like to start, if I'm going to start anywhere, I like to start after school because I feel like the getting home after school sets up how we're going to go to bed. Going to bed sets up how we're going to wake up. So, really, I don't think there's really a wrong place to start. That can be helpful. Okay. So this is my overall theme. These are the things that I think make a good checklist, and we're going to go over each one, but I'm just giving you an overview because I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you, and then I'm going to tell you what I told you, right? Here we go, universal model. I think that a good checklist should clarify expectations. I think the rewards should hang on the progress. I think you should keep a mental list in your head about these are the things that I want my kid to do. And because your kid certainly has a list of things that they want to do. And in my mind, I'm thinking, how much does broccoli cost? What? Like if I can get my kid to eat broccoli, what's that reward? Okay, that kind of thing. Okay, adjust with time, manage family roles, prepare for future skills, incorporate an image, organize the tasks, negate the nag. We'll build a little more trust until we get there. Okay, because that's going to be hard. It's hard to let go of the nag. Okay, and then success starts small. Okay, so a good checklist should help you. You should be able to think through these things. What is your role? You as the parent. What is your role? What is the kid's role? And what is reasonable to expect? I'm not gonna do it now, but I had this is linked to like the American Psychiatric Association about, like what kids can do, like what kids can do at a certain age. You could look that up. What's a reasonable expectation for a certain age, and then go back 3 years, and then that's where you start, with our kids, okay? What is your success phase? So you are gonna have a task on the chore chart. Maybe you really want your student to put on matching socks. Let's just say, most of us have given that up a long time ago. Okay. Right. Just for giggles. You want matching socks, maybe it's for a special event. And, and you put it on the checklist, and you're getting ready to walk out the door, and they say, I've done my checklist, or I've threw my checklist under the bed. But what is your reaction gonna be? What is your face gonna be? These are the things that I want you to think through before you implement stuff. It's not that you have to know every answer. It's just that I want you to kind of think through, because it's going to happen. You're going to have to reteach and reteach and reteach and be okay with it. And maybe the 5th time it's the reteach, we put on some tunes, and we dance through it. This is how we make the bed, we're pulling it up, add some excitement to it. Okay, but you're gonna have to reteach. You can anticipate some disasters, I'm sure. But all of a sudden, he's gonna be 14, and he's gonna get up and make his bed and shut the drawers and turn off the light and go to the kitchen and take his meds and make his lunch. And I'll say, did you wipe the counter? Getting ready to. It's the teeth that kill me. Have you brushed your teeth? I'm not putting you in my car until you brush your teeth. Anyway, but those are miracles compared to where we started. Okay. And what will your child learn about you? Remember back to that relationship thing. It really is my goal to have a good relationship with your child who drives you crazy. So I can remember reading this seminal piece of research about ADHD teenagers, particularly, and their parents. And all the parents reported, we have a really tumultuous relationship. And all the kids said, it's okay, it's great. And then it occurred to me, it's because the kids are so inattentive. They have no idea what's going on, okay? So they are not experiencing the relationship the same way that we are, okay? So, right, so there it is. Okay, so it's like the ultimate patience battle. Okay, so clarify expectations. So a reasonable expectation should not be clean your room before school. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that expectation in general. I think for an ADHD tween or teen, I think that is too vague. I think that's just like, well, what does that mean? Okay. I think that you have to break things down, like pull up the sheet, pull up the blanket. I've lost the battle with the decorative pillows. We all get that, right? You just fine. Just leave. Even when I say, if you put the decorative pillows on, the dog hair doesn't get on your pillow. He's like, okay. So, but you have to go through each, it's like you do a task analysis of what are all the things that have to happen to get out the door. Because ultimately, I want your role is to be an encourager. How are you doing? Where are you on your checklist? It's this time, not did you get your shoes on? How many times can we say that and it still doesn't happen, but yet we keep saying it? So let's stop saying it. And let's say something else like, do you know where your shoes are?
No.
And then we have the root of the problem, right? Okay, okay. So clarify expectations, an expectation that is reasonable for what the child can do right now. Let's go to hang rewards. Have you finished your checklist? Show me your checklist. These are your jobs. Like these are just examples of things that I think are important to say instead of, why haven't you, or I'm waiting for this. It's the beauty of the checklist is that it pulls it out between parent and child, and then it sort of triangulates it. And then it's like, it's the checklist. I'm looking at something. These are the things that I have to do. And the arguments come, well, why do I have to fill out a checklist to put on my clothes? Because it's a work skill. Because you like to try and sneak non-uniform clothing items in, and we have an argument every morning, so let's not do that. The uniform, okay? Why do I have to do this? So that really ultimately is that so you don't need me. So that you can do them on your own. And so when they really are bucking up against this, I like to, in some ways, it's like, I feel like it's a Hallmark moment. It's like, so if you picture like, like me and my kid, and I like to like, the clouds part, and like, I like to take them around the side, and we're both looking into the future. And I say, when you are 18, when you are an adult, these are all the things that you're going to have to do by yourself. And we have a lot to learn. And then you say that enough till the panic gets on their face. And then you say, but I don't have to turn you loose yet. We have 10 years. It's going to take everyone to get you ready. But I am here to help you get away from me. I am here to help you launch, not need me. I want to have a relationship with you that is not about these things. Okay. So again, that's kind of the beauty of using something to really pull out that power dynamic. Okay. Dessert. It's you do or we do. Like, I'm not going to do it. You ever get that? So then I like to say it's you do it or we do it. It's going to get done. You do it or we do it. I don't want to do it. Well, then let's do it together. Okay. That's what it is. These are things that have to get done. So you have to put things on the checklist that are important. Rearrange your bookcase. Probably not that important. And they will sniff it out and look at you like you have betrayed. Right. Okay. So hanging on productivity. Okay. And then adapt over time. So, one of the things that I really like to do is that when they look at the list and they say, how long is all of this going to take? It's going to take forever. And I say, well, then let's time it. And they go, wow. Well, if you're going to, maybe it does take too long. Let's find out. So time it. How long does it take? And then sometimes you see picture my kids like, going to the house, I got the checklist in my hand, going to the bathroom now, doing the things in the bathroom. Okay, timer's still going, and no, you can drag it all out and it can still only take, 15 minutes, the whole thing. So, I also like when they really dig in and maybe they don't like the chore. you know, that you've put on there. Maybe I like to say, I'm gonna write up all the chores that have to happen in the home. And then, so I do, and then say the adults are taking care of all of these things. You want to swap? And if they do, then I say, okay, you know, then there's gonna be some teaching involved, right? Like, they want to take over making dinner, you know, and I say, then what we're gonna have to work up to that, you know, we're gonna have to sous chef it, you know, for a while until we get to the thing. But what that does is, you know, it switches this perspective between, why am I the only one who has to do chores? And nobody else in my school has to do chores. Well, they're not gonna have good jobs. I don't know what to tell you. I'm training you to be a productive person. Okay. And again, if you want to swap a job, you know, I will unload the dishwasher, you know, if you start some laundry. Okay, let's mix it up. Okay. Let's try it once, talk it through. I think giving a child a checklist of things to do. First of all, you have to make sure they can read it. We'll go back to that. But even if they can read it, just handing it to them is not the handoff, I think. that, guests don't see. It's just right off, the two bedrooms. And it's just this blank wall, and I dry erase board painted it. It's huge, and it's our kind of our staging, area of maybe like a weekend. These are the things that all of us need to get done this weekend. Who's taking what? Okay, so the whose job is it? I think it's helpful if anyone in your home is struggling with productivity, or how fast you get out the door, or when homework happens. I think it's good to let's list all the jobs that it takes to be a family. Okay, there's things that we have to do to just live. And then there are things that we do that are the reason for living. So let's make sure that we know the difference. And what are all the jobs? What are all the jobs we need to do? How can we use everyday tasks to build stronger connections and personal confidence? So think about having your child help you cook. It will take probably 20 more minutes of mental prep for you to figure out what tasks are going to be appropriate. So you can, depending on their age, you certainly wouldn't turn them loose on a knife and say, Julianne the vegetables. But what I think you can do is teach while you are doing it. So, and talk out loud. We assume that kind of kids are going to internalize our behaviors, and some of our kids need it to be explicit. So I'm boiling the water. Why am I boiling the water? I don't know. We're going to have spaghetti. Verbally walk it through. Ask them, what do you think the next step is? So these are connections and confidence, like all in one. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And I get it that sometimes we're exhausted and we don't want to teach, and that's okay. Mom's just going to cook dinner tonight by herself. Okay. You can help me by setting the table, or whatever it is. Okay. And a shared experience and role model collaboration. So, we all have things to do in the morning. So let's line them all up and let's look at them. These are the things, that I have to do in the morning. I have to drink coffee before I talk to anybody, right? These are the things that, my son has to do before he gets out the door. Who is letting out the dog, who's feeding the cats. I mean, there's lots of things that we tend to just do. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't keep doing them. I'm saying we should loop in the kids. Okay. Loop in the kids for that responsibility. Okay. And maybe both of you are doing it for example, maybe both of you we're going to feed the dog. We're going to feed the dog at this time, and we're going to practice. And then maybe we've done it for a couple of weeks, and then we have a conversation. All right. How did we do? Did we feed the dog on time? No, we missed that one. You're right. We missed that day. What happened? He was so hungry when we got home, right? It is okay. That's life. But it is a shared experience and a natural consequence. And you're talking it through. You're not shaming. We're going towards a common goal is really the ultimate thing. Oh, it's working again. All right. So I love this. Coming soon. Prepare for future skills. And I alluded to this earlier. It is really about directing them towards the future and what skills they're going to need. Now, it's important to know that timing is important. Like, I can't walk up to my, then 5-year-old and initiate a lecture of, these are all the things that are gonna come for you when you're 7, so we gotta get you ready now. Okay, he's not even here, right? You gotta wait for the right time. I started out by saying, when you grow up, you wanna be a big boy, right? Yes, it's like this universal thing. I want to be a big boy. Let's talk about what you have to do as a big boy. Okay, when you're planting that seed, you're always moving it forward. Okay, let them know things like, okay, you just turned 10. You're going to be driving in how many years? We got to start. We got to start practicing. We got to start thinking about it. Okay, like in the car. I've been quizzing. It started out at Connor and I spent a lot of time in the car, and our reading started out as sign recognition and letters, and he would read the letters and numbers, and he would call them out, and he was great at that, and trying to build some awareness, and so I'd say as we went on, I would talk to him about street signs and stuff. And the other day, it was just 2 weeks ago, we pulled up to a flashing red stop. The lights were out, flashing red intersection. And I said, what does that mean? He goes, it's the same as a stop sign. I was like, what? Oh. I said, well, how do you know which one goes first? And he was like, that got convoluted. He goes, well, the one's on this side and then the one's on this side. And he walked me around the whole intersection. But I was so proud of him because I thought, something has stuck, right? Because we've been talking about driving for a long time, little by little by little. So what was really interesting is about 6 months ago when I said, you're going to graduate high school. And if you live with me, that's fine. You're going to pay rent. It was like I stabbed him in the heart. And I felt it. And I'd say, now, I didn't say how much, right? And I'm not going to charge you the same as an apartment, but it was a boundary. It was a boundary because he was already thinking, I don't know if I'm going to go to college. And then, you could just see, I'm just going to hang out in the basement. Let's just, and not that there's anything wrong with the hanging out in the basement. I'm saying that you got to make some progress towards some productivity. Okay. That when you're an adult, things will be expected of you. So think ahead, what's coming up for them. And if you can then tie it back and say, when you're on a job, you are going to be expected to follow the steps. And if you can't follow the steps, you're not going to have a job. I don't want that for you. Let's practice. Let's just practice. That's what my job is to help you get good at this stuff. Okay. I think that a good checklist should incorporate an image. So what I mean by this is that for little kids, you can have little icons, or even non-reading kids, it's just fine. Put a little icon of what they're supposed to do. One of the best tools that we learned from Sarah Ward is this idea that you get it exactly how it's supposed to be, and you take a picture of it, and you print that picture right by it. Okay, so there is a picture of a made bed right by the bed, or maybe on the checklist. So you don't get any of this, oh, I made it. Does it look like the picture? Yeah? Try again. Like it has to look like the picture. So this is what, make the bed, looks like. This is what drawers closed. I had to put that on my son's checklist. Closed drawers, okay? Pick up the floor. This is what pick up the floor looks like, had to be very specific. So an image either on the checklist or by the task itself, so that they can see what we're teaching them to self-evaluate. Hallelujah. Okay. Is my job like the picture? No. I need some help. Absolutely. You need some help? What do you need some help with? Well, I can't make it, but well, you're right. You can't, it's a big bed and you have little arms. And so let's, I'll help you, right? Shared experience, still productive. Okay. You get to come in as the assist rather than the, okay. Organize movement. You can organize the tasks in a variety of ways that make sense for you and your student. I like to organize by room, like, and you can see that all the things that you do in the bedroom are stacked together. All the things that you do in the bathroom are kind of grouped together. All the things that you do in the kitchen are kind of grouped together, on the sheet. And that's just how we ended up doing. But sometimes there are priorities or, a time that is important. Maybe some of our families carpool from really long distances. So getting out the door is like a really big deal because you've got 3 families depending on it, right? So then you kind of have to shift some things, okay? You can organize them by easiest to hardest, by necessity, by zones, days of the week. Connor would have different chores on different days, and so like the Wednesday checklist wouldn't have a chore, but like the Thursday one he'd have to go out and pick up poop or something like that. But whatever way it makes sense to you, it just don't make it haphazard. Yeah. It's okay to start like, I'm going to write all these things down and then maybe we're going to kind of go through it a couple times and see what makes sense. Get their feedback. Well, I don't want to do any of it. Awesome. Well, that's why we need to practice. So we practice together. Okay. And then, so I don't you love the finger. Okay. What I'm about to say. I like to tell tweens and teens that whenever they have an angry adult in front of them, particularly a parent, is that underneath that is a big old fear. Big old fear. And they look at me and they go, and I say, yes. Yes. And I say, something happens between the time that you're in a kid to an adult, but then you become an adult and then all of a sudden you were afraid for your kid and you need to be really stern. And they look at you like, what is happening? So my thoughts are that, again, that using a checklist for the tasks that help with functioning, you want to come in, and I'm assuming that most of us would rather be in the supportive role rather than the taskmaster role. Some of us maybe want to be in the taskmaster role. And that's our jam. And I would say that my wife is a little bit like that. And I try to play the, let's not be so harsh. And then but the thing is, it's great because she and I have different strengths. So we're bringing out different aspects of the personality. If you can talk it through honestly, like, I feel that's too harsh. I feel that's too indulgent. Let's talk about where we are in the middle. I mean, it's a fact. We're going to have different styles and we can learn from one another. But I think we are going to have more connection with our kids if we can make them more independent and less dependent on our prompt, right? And the nag is the prompt. Did you do it? I ask you to do that. Versus let's check our surroundings. What time is it? What time do we leave? What else do we have to do on our list? Do you think we're going to be able to get everything done? And so for a while, Connor's strategy was, well, I'm just going to wake up late and then I'm going to move slow. And then, oh, I couldn't make my bed. Right? It's fine. What are you doing the first thing that you're home? Make the bed. Then it wasn't as fun anymore, right? Because he wasn't really getting out of anything. I mean, it was just later. He had to do it later. And that brought a sense of, oh, I can't really get out of this forever, but if you need to do it later, do it later. Right? Okay. So neutralize the nag, focus on the steps, not the compliance. Remember about the shoes? Why haven't you put on the shoes? The wrong question. Where are your shoes? That's the right question. Where are your shoes? Are you having trouble with the laces? Do you need some help? Those are the questions that we can come in and supportive, not why don't you get your shoes? Because then it becomes a power struggle. And even though you mean well, they're like, ah! Right? And then nothing gets done. Okay. Let's see your checklist. Where are you on the checklist? Save the evaluation, correction, or reteaching for later. I really am a strong believer that in the moment, it's 7:45. You were supposed to be out the door 10 minutes ago, and they come to you with nothing done on their checklist. That is not the time to correct and reteach the tasks. Why? What do you think? It's too much. Too much?
Pressure.
It's under pressure. It's not the biggest priority in the moment. It is overwhelmed. Do you learn well under pressure? Only people who go to medical school learn well under pressure. But I always never underestimate the value of coming back to something and saying, circle back. Let's talk about this morning. And then you can say, it won't be long. Set a timer. Set a timer. Choose your words carefully. Don't go on and on and on and on because they space out. So you get to the point quicker. That's probably the biggest thing that having an ADHD child taught me is get to everything in by the second word. Okay. Save that for later. Circle back. Let's problem solve. Let's figure this out. Okay. And start small. Start small. So I like to think about success as like a zero entry pool. Okay. So maybe if I'm going to put a checklist in front of a kid, maybe it's, get up. Yay! You woke up, you get to check that, you get a sticker. Let's just call it good. Okay. We don't have to build everything in a day. We don't have to build the whole structure. Start small. this is just an aside, if you've got a teenager or even a young adult who's struggling with to-do lists, sometimes I like to prescribe a done list. Let's write down everything you did. Yeah, we did a lot. And so what we're doing is reinforcing the idea of, I'm mapping out what I did, okay? So prioritize the task. What's most important? If it's most important for the student to take a medicine by a certain time, then everything else needs to revolve around that. If it's most important for a student to, get out the door, that needs to be okay. But set them up for some success, okay? Set them up for success. So, where to look? My technology is, here's all the places that I look for pre-made checklists. Just go to Google and type in student daily checklist and click on the images and a gazillion pop up. Teachers pay teachers. You can sort that for free or under $5. Okay. Tools to Grow is another website. The OT Toolbox, Etsy, Your Therapy Source. Some of these cost money. Some of them don't. You can make them. Microsoft Word, Excel. You can write a list. You can write it out every day. It is all okay. I want to show you. So I put a bunch up here. So different kinds of checklists. Some are week long, some are about the end of the day, some are about, just the binder or, the backpack. I really like, this one right here. I've got a copy of it. Yeah. It's just got like before school, after school, before bed kind of thing. I'm gonna pull up, if I can, this one. Maybe. Oh, I can't pull it up. Why can't I pull it up? Bear with me. Here we go. There we go. Okay. Let's see if we can look at that. Can you see that okay? All right. So here's an example of something that was successful in our home that I intentionally wrote it in language that was brief, like this is what I call like resume, language, like to the point, okay? Get dressed, shoes on, floor cleared, PJs folded. That never happened. Yes, okay, never happened. Drawer shut, okay, because if the drawers don't close themselves, we talked about this earlier, they will stay open, okay? Drawer shut, covers pulled, closet closed, light off, door closed, okay? And then these were the kitchen, items. Meds taken, water finished. Still, never want to drink all the water. Lunch packed, water filled, the water bottle takes to school. Teeth, bathroom, teeth brushed, hands washed, counter cleared, sink wiped, light off. Okay. So this was sort of like the middle of the road version of this, like after we had started the checklist and we had started to make some changes. And so then I added an after school. And then I added this activity log. So again, 2 different households, different rules about and different access to screens and limits. So I started out with, let's just see how you're spending your time. So I made him, write down the minute, how many minutes did you spend, doing these things? And then there's some math. Right? I know, you don't have to do math in your house. But you can also do things like write me a sentence about what you did tonight. Some of the kids were like, what? Well, let's write it together. Why do I have to write a sentence? It helps with your memory. It helps you remember what you did. When you go to work, you're going to have to account for what you did. So these are all the little things that we're just practicing. We're practicing. Let's see. Build activity log, brush teeth, clothes, hampered. I couldn't figure out how to make that into like, put your clothes in the hamper. So I just hampered, clothes hampered, PJs on, floor cleared, water finished. So this was, something we used for a while in various versions of it. And then he would, have to take it to one of us, at the end. And then we'd talk through it. Like, oh, this morning you didn't get this done. What happened? Simple conversation. And what are we going to do next time? Okay. So again, it's about the connection and about reteaching. And I really do, where's the clipboard? So, somewhere there's a clipboard.
This one.
Yeah. So you can literally put this, on a full-size clipboard. You can put it on on a mini clipboard. Like some people like to post it, like these are the things I do in my room. These are the things I do in the bathroom. And I think that's fine if that works. I really like the get your clipboard, like write your stuff down. These are your tasks. And for some kids, maybe they need to say, well, what are you doing? Well, I'll write a list. I'll show you what the mom checklist looks like. You want to compare? No, but I'll show you what the mom checklist looks like. And we can say, how long do you think that, whoa, mom, you got a lot. Yeah, I do. How long do you think it's going to take me? I don't know. Right. So we're estimating time. We're doing some thinking ahead. So I think that if you've never done anything like this, I would say start small and just adjust. And I really like, this is my final little tip. I really like it when parents say to students, say to their children, I'm going to be doing some things different. Well, what does that mean? Well, I'm going to try some new things. I'm going to try to teach you better. I'm going to try to talk to you in a different way. I want us to have more fun and less, strife, that kind of stuff. So let them know that changes are coming. I think the difficult thing is when you think you have to like roll into a kid like you roll into like a boardroom for like a hard sell or a hard pitch or something, and the kid is going to look at you like you have 3 heads because they can feel the anxiety coming off of you. Right? So you've got to keep yourself calm, or you have to roll in there and say, we got to talk about something and I'm feeling really anxious about it. I mean, it shouldn't be a secret, right? Like, I'm going to have to tell you to do something and you're going to hate it. And he goes, oh, I know. Let's just get it over with. Okay, here we go. So, but there's an emotional honesty that is very important. It's kind of like when, I don't know, sometimes it's a grandparent thing too. Like you really want to, sometimes there's a parenting situation and you really want to come off strong right? Because you're scared. And you want to come off strong, and I get that. But if there's any fear underneath, kids have X-ray vision. Okay, and then they're getting mixed messages, and then they're paying attention to the mixed message. And they're not, that's coming from you, and they're not paying attention to, oh, they're trying to teach me how to do something. Okay, if they're really, really resistant to any of these, tasks, then invite them. Well, what do you think you should do in the morning? Okay, and invite their suggestions. And now you say, it doesn't mean we're gonna do them all, but I wanna know, what do you think you should do? You wanna just, like every day should be like Saturday? Wouldn't that be nice? Validate that. Yeah. Well, maybe the issue is, what about getting up is hard? The number of ADHD kids that I've met who wake up so slowly. And what do we do? I'll just say, what do I do as parents? It's like you expect them to get up right when we say to get up. And then the whole morning is shot. Okay. If you know your kid needs 30 minutes to wake up, then I would say get some snooze, get some alarms going on, get multiple alarms. There's, Alexas and Googles and Siris if you want to use them, but there's also various alarms. You definitely want to get them to get up on their own, but if there's a big difference between them having 30 minutes to wake up and them having 5 minutes to wake up, think about how we're setting them up. Okay. And that's not anything that they necessarily have control over. I mean, that goes back to like temperament, and how, and how you're neurologically wired. So, the pulling this all together, I want to say that, it can be a really fun way to bring some teaching in a way that, you don't normally think about. I mean, I think when they send you home with your kid from the hospital, it's just like, good luck, right? And they don't really say, well, at some point, you're really gonna have to be intentional about what you teach them. Well, how do you set that up? I don't know. How do you set that up? Over the dinner table that nobody has anymore? You have a dinner table, yes. But giving them something to hold that says, I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm working towards this independence. Okay. Will give them agency and will shift the dynamic between, I need you to do this right now versus, well, I need you to do this so your teeth don't drop out. I mean, like, I need you to brush your teeth. I'm not, my favorite is, I am not tucking you in if you have not brushed your teeth. Hard pass. So, and for my son, he was like, oh, okay. Like, it was so important to him that I tucked him in, right? And I was totally fine using that. Like, I don't want to snuggle up to that nasty mouth. No, brush your teeth. So use things like that really shared experiences. I'm gonna stop talking. Thoughts, questions?
What if the checklist
Yes.
visually,
Yes.
they look at it
Uh-huh.
and it's, but we do better when we're like, Gwen has an Alexa.
Uh-huh.
Could we make the list on the Alexa? And then what's next on my checklist? What do I need to do? Because when it's all right there in front of her, right?
Okay.
What happens? It's too much, I can't take it, it's too much, and then we have a complete meltdown.
Well, what if you started with not just one or the other, but both.
Okay.
Like, it's on the Alexa and it's written down.
Mhm.
Cause I would eventually, I would want them to kind of. Be less sensitized to that. And maybe it's about font or space or whatever, but whatever words Alexa's saying, those are the words.
It's just not what I'm saying. Right, as long as it's not me or one of us saying.
Ding,
"Hey,
ding, ding,
can
ding,
you do
ding."
Something,
Absolutely.
it's another.
Everybody has more authority than you as the parent, right? Has anybody else experienced this? Yes, okay, yeah, yeah. Sometimes you just wanna like grab somebody off the street and say, would you tell them? Yeah,
Yeah.
because they will believe you, but they won't believe me, okay? So, yes, I would say whatever system is working, I mean, maybe there are too many things on the checklist, maybe.
So we also put them on note cards, so there's one thing on a note card,
Love
so you
it.
don't have to have the whole list, but just one card. at a
Love
time. When the
it.
card's done, you can get another card. That's
I have
another,
chore sticks, but the problem with the chore sticks is, and it becomes a huge fight about, well, so-and-so got to pick the chore sticks last week, and it's like, people rotate the chore sticks, and then it's like, it's too much free reign.
Sure,
Mm-hmm.
sure, okay. I would de-emphasize the rotation until
Mhm.
all of the everyday chores,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
go well. Yes,
We have a question online. How many items on a checklist, like for an 11-year-old?
great question. I would say, start with, it depends on where you're gonna start. If you're gonna start in the morning or the afternoon or the evening. You're gonna start in the morning. I would say, get dressed, teeth, meds, food, maybe make the bed. Well, I would say six or seven.
Okay.
But then, in the spirit of, we're gonna try it and we're gonna talk about it. I mean, I think kids freak out when they think this is coming down and I have no say in it. But if you say, we're gonna try it and we're gonna see how we did. Yeah.
So I started implementing this with my daughter a couple weeks ago, and she's 11, and she's very resistant to the thought of like checklists.
Yeah.
We literally started with, I will clean the Kleenexes off my nightstand at night, and I will clean off the top of my toy box at night. And we
Exactly.
started there, and now we have our full bedtime routine within like 3 weeks.
Yes, that's like the zero entry pool. Just
Yeah.
really easy. Really easy. That's a great example.
Yeah, and I let her, like, we kind of started talking about things and she was just like, and I was like, well, what do you want to do? And so she picked those two.
Yeah.
And I let her start with that and then, we tiptoed.
And the reality is that some of our kids are not going to be ready for independence. I think that all children, there's some hook in there that says, I know you want to have control over your own life. I know you want to make choices for yourself. We have to learn how to do these things to get there. And, there's something else I was gonna add to that, but yeah, like even if, I was gonna say that, I can imagine that there are certain students who just don't feel like ready to do anything independent. And you can look at them and you say, that is okay. You will. You will want to do things on your own. So we will start this later. Now, if it's all mom, it's all mom. So when you get more choices, when you can do independent tasks. But if you're not ready for it, you're not ready for it. Sometimes with some kids who will be like, I'm not ready, and that's fine. We'll check back in a month. Okay, any other thoughts?
Tiffany, thank you so much.
Sure.
It's been amazing.
I-
Space.
I loved it.
If people want to get a hold of you, do you want to give out your Horizon email? Or I can
Yes,
send
I
it out.
thought, yes, I thought it was on there, but maybe it was not. There it is. Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, and I do want to say, yeah, thank you to Maren O'Brien. She did me all up pretty. She's a former student I was like, make it happen, Maren. So, and thank you to Alex and to Kristen and to Jeremy, and it's great to be here. And I do have a few paper copies to take home. There is a sign-in sheet that is different than the one out front. If you want me to email you the slides from tonight, I'm happy to do so.
Do it too.
Okay, there you go. All right. Let me know. Good luck. That. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
What do you do for a living? You have a occupational therapist. Okay. Like, you deliver babies? Why do you have a pelvic?
How'd we do?